Yes, people, right now we're taking a look at this Sky News article here about Zack Polanski and Nigel Farage. Now, these two individuals are currently some of the big names in British politics. So, Zack Polanski is now the leader of the Green Party as of about a couple of months ago. He has taken the Green Party from around about 60,000 members to over 140,000 members. So he has actually doubled the party membership plus actually right now. And Nigel Farage, of course, is a long time populist, well known individual who's been involved in various political parties such as UK Brexit Party and now the current form of his political landscape known as the Reform UK. Reform UK Party has been picking up in popularity. So let's take a look at this article around these two individuals who are currently behemoths of the British political scene right now. So it says here, the pair are both cutting through in a changing media landscape when attention is scarce and trust in mainstream politics is scarcer still. Well, we do have social media nowadays where people can actually reach wider audiences. So with the likes of TikTok and other social platforms like Instagram, these individuals like Zach Polanski have been able to create their own media and actually reach a lot more people. Even though Nigel Farage has hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok and he regularly gets a lot of views. And Zach Polanski has picked up on that kind of tactic, and he's kind of administered it and molded it more towards his personality and obviously his brand of politics. And it's done him well because he's been more aggressive, more forward, and more apparent in the mainstream and also social media where he's getting views and people are seeing him sometimes for the first time and sometimes people already know his politics, and that's helped the Green Party pick up in popularity. Now, for Farage, the Reform UK leader, momentum has been building since he won a seat at the general election last year after trying for many years to become a British MP. He was an MEP at the European Parliament for a while. So in the 6 weeks since Polanski became leader of the Greens, membership has doubled. They polled higher than ever before. So some of the polls that came out had them around 15%, neck and neck with Labour at one stage and other parties as well. So, I mean, they've done exceptionally well, the Green Party, bearing in mind they've come out of nowhere in the sense that they did have some following and obviously some members, but what they've got now is totally unique, and it's absolutely like flabbergasting to see what they've been able to do. Recently, I think it was about three councillors in Swindon that came across to the Green Party and defected as well, where Zack Polanski did a speech, basically press conference. So he's taken a leaf out of Farage's party and started doing press conferences when there's something happening. Now it says here, I'm sure I don't need to say this, but I despise Nigel Farage's politics and disagree with him on almost everything, Polanski told Sky News. But I think his storytelling has undoubtedly cut through, and so yes, there has been a huge part of us saying if Farage can do it, basically through hate and division, then it's time for the Green Party to do it on the opposite side to the politics of hope and community, and that's what Zach Polanski believes he's been doing. Now, Polanski, has been speaking at various news conferences to announce defections, like I mentioned, with the councillors in Swindon, and he's been telling stories about people, and the people themselves, the councillors, also been telling their stories, um, and it's been described as a sort of an eco-populist, which is interesting. Um, but he himself has said, "Look, I'm not just going to be talking about the environment. People already know the Green Party. If they're interested in the environment, they're going to vote the Greens, but they don't know the policies around, defence, around the economy, around young people, around employment, all that kind of stuff. So these are the things he has been talking about: poverty and equality, economic justice, and that's what's getting him attention. He's done a lot of media interviews, so he's done dozens upon dozens over the last few weeks, even podcasts. He launched his own podcast and turbocharged it on in terms of the green social media content. and it has, lots of their videos have been going viral, especially his recent poem that he did in Birmingham after Robert Jenrick made a claim about not seeing many white people in Handsworth in Birmingham. So Zack Polanski actually went to Handsworth. He spoke to local residents. He met local residents, and then he read a poem by Benjamin Zephaniah, basically a poem about unity and community and so on. That's an image there from the press conference that happened in Swindon. So it's a good way to garner attention and also show that councillors and other politicians are looking to join the Green Party or defect. Now, Polanski insists that it's not just increased exposure in on itself, but it's attracting people because of the messaging, the message about make hope normal again. That's what the Green Party are leading with. So it says here, I'm not going to be in a wetsuit or parachuting from a helicopter like Ed Davey, the Lib Dem leader. I think you only need to do stunts if you don't have something really clear to say and then you need to grab attention. I think when you look at the challenges facing the country right now, if you talk about taxing wealth, that's a big thing Polanski has been talking about, and not work, basically work. If you talk about mass inequality in our society, you talk about solidarity with people living in poverty, working class communities, that's when people basically connect and they see that, yeah, hang on a minute, this message resonates with me. So some of the solutions have come under criticism. Reform UK have attacked his policy to legalise drugs and abolish private landlords. Polanski has said ideas around legalising drugs so people can actually get access to the relevant drugs they need in safe, secure places rather than it being done through criminal activity like drug dealing and so on. And he's also talked about abolishing private landlords, which might not necessarily be a good idea, especially the small landlords. Maybe if he's focusing more on the big monopolies, the big players, then maybe. So Polanski is confident he can win the fight. He says it helps that he talks quite quickly because basically he gets down and basically quite bold, upfront, a little bit aggressive, and he deals with the nuance and he just gets stuck in. He's not actually an MP. He's a member of the London Assembly right now, so he probably would stand up to become an MP in the coming elections in the future. And he's quite young as well, so he's only 42 years old. And he's also alluded to conversations he's had with potential Labour's member of parliaments that might want to defect to the Green Party as a left-wing alternative, as the Labour Party has been seen to move towards the right. He's not revealed who these people are because obviously he wants to maintain integrity. And then he's talked about other potential candidates there from the Labour Party as well. And then Luke Trill, director of More in Common, says that basically there's a reflection of a new axis of competition as frontline British politics shifts from a battle of left and right to something else, i.e., anti-establishment, super rich, anti-billionaires. So basically around wealth tax and so on. Now you've got multiple parties. So you've got Reform, you've got Liberal Democrats, you've got the Green Party, Labour, Conservatives, and you've got other smaller parties as well. So recently, just a couple of days ago, we saw Clyde Simru basically in Caerphilly winning the election there. A lot of people thought that the Reform UK candidate in that Welsh town would actually win, but actually they didn't. And Clyde Simru actually nearly got somewhere around about 40 something percent in terms of votes, so nearly half the votes there, and they beat Reform by a decent margin. The other story was that Labour went down massively to about 11% of the votes, which was a big hit for the Labour Party. So Polanski is also coming up with focus groups. He's talking to people. He's asking tough questions and so on. So one big challenge that he might face is basically, whether his rise will cause the left vote to fragment and make it easier for Farage to win. So typically we see Labour on the left, but now we also see Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana with their Your Party, whose conference is due in the coming weeks in November. They will also be setting up their party, which is at the moment called Your Party. So there's a few contenders on the left there that could fragment the vote, or maybe they could form an alliance potentially with the likes of the Labour Party at a future, date when the general election might take place in 2029, which could help keep reform out. And basically, he's asked if he'd form a coalition with Labour. I don't think he's a big fan of Keir Starmer right now, but maybe if there was another leader or if things changed, then there might be possibilities there of partnership or people coming together from the Greens, your party, and maybe even Labour. So he's also said, I don't think stopping Nigel Farage has to be a huge mission for any progressive in the country, but the biggest way they can do it is basically, we can stop Nigel Farage by joining the Green Party, according to Polanski, creating a real alternative to the Labour government, where we say we don't have to compromise on our values. And he's also said if people wanted to vote for Farage, they'd simply vote for Nigel Farage. So you don't have to pander, you don't have to out reform, as Lucy Powell recently said, the new deputy leader of the Labour Party. She beat Bridget Phillipson, and the announcement came just a day or so ago. So it says here, what does Keir Starmer think he's doing by offering politics that are similar to reform but just watered down versions? Sometimes people can't actually tell the difference between some of the policies between reform and Labour. So it's been quite an amazing period in the last couple of months to see the rise of the Green Party and how that's affecting politics right now. Do let us know what you think about Zack Polanski. Are you in favour of Zack Polanski or Nigel Farage or someone else? Do let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Catch you in the next one.